recording, but. Okay, so on the agenda, you can see that we do have the reminder there that our forces quiz is tomorrow, and just a couple details to make sure you haven't forgotten. It will be on positive physics. You'll want to make sure that you read through the description on Axis if you didn't take the notes, or watch the video from the last session where I explained it. And it is a couple of questions on 4 different parts. So there's Unit 7 systems, Unit 11 gravitation, Unit 17 springs and oscillations, and Unit 19 electric force. And there's 2 or 3 questions on each of those sections for a total of 10. So tomorrow when we come to class, we'll take the first 15 minutes or so, no more than 20. I want to cap that review time at 20 minutes, but first 15 minutes or so to review, just taking any questions you might have. And then we'll save the last 60 minutes to take the quiz. Now, some of you will probably finish the quiz in 15 to 20 minutes. And then there's just going to be a sequence of videos that I want you to watch on the AP Classroom website. So for those of you that will be in class tomorrow, it's a gold day. So those of you that are going to be here, bring a device, bring headphones, and so that you can watch those videos when you're done with the quiz. And then for those of you that are going to be on Zoom tomorrow, you'll be able to just log out and watch that on your own when you're done with the quiz. Now, just to make it a bit easier for you in terms of submission, because it's on 4 different units, I was thinking about this this morning. I'm not going to require, I did make it the assignment so that you could submit snapshots. And so if you want to kind of do that as a backup plan for yourself, you may. But I'm not actually going to require you to do the snapshots. I'm just going to grade it from the Positive Physics website. It's not quite as easy, but it's not a big deal. And I would hate for you to rush getting done on the quiz because you know you need to take pictures and stuff. I'd rather you be able to focus on just doing well. So if you get done early and you want to submit them for your own records in Access, you can do that. It's an option, but you're not going to be required to. And I'll remind you of that tomorrow. So that is the quiz. Any questions for me about the quiz? All right. I do have a makeup time already scheduled for tomorrow at 3:30. So I had one student that's got a doctor's appointment, another student with a dentist appointment, got some international students that need a different time. So 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. If for some reason something comes up in the morning and you're not able to attend class for any reason, 3:30 in the afternoon is a makeup time that I already have scheduled, and 5 or 6 students already planning to be there. Hopefully that won't be necessary for any of you. And this is kind of a reminder more for the international students that might be watching the video, that 3:30 p.m. Pacific time is when many of you have signed up to take the quiz. Today we're going to go through a couple of things about the AP Classroom site. I want to show you some things that are there. I can only show you on the teacher view, so it's going to look a little different, but I want to highlight these 4 things: the daily videos, the topic questions, multiple choice questions, and free response questions that you can be using. And the reason I want to do that is because we cover everything in terms of content. We will get through all the content you need to know. But there's no substitute for practice. And while we do practice together, the students who do best are the ones who practice a lot on their own as well. The AP Physics exam is statistically and traditionally the hardest AP exam to score well on. I mean, if you look at the percentages of every college board exam, AP Physics 1 is almost always at the bottom of the list in terms of scores. And it's just difficult. The next one up, I think, is generally calculus. And AP Physics 2 is actually not bad. It's actually like halfway up through the list. And the AP Calculus version is actually even higher. But AP 1, the test is just notoriously difficult. The good news is the curve is notoriously large, but you also have to prepare. So, and a big part of it, which you're going to see today, if you haven't been practicing on your own yet, we're going to practice an FRQ today. And what you'll see is, if this is your first exposure to a physics FRQ, they're very different than FRQs in most other classes, because I've taught AP Bio, AP Chemistry, and AP Physics. And the physics ones are just really unique. And so you just need that practice. You need that exposure. So we will be using these Wednesdays to give you that practice together. But to do an excellent job and to score a potential 5 on the exam, you're going to need to do a lot of practice on your own as well, just for the repetition. Not because you need to learn new content, just you need the extra repetitions. To get good at anything, you need practice. So let me quickly show you on this AP site some of those things that can help you. Let's see here. Yep, good, it's still open. All right, now yours will look a bit different. Are you guys on the Zoom seeing the AP Classroom site okay? All right, good. So yours will look a bit different, but you should see the units across the top. And we've covered everything from Unit 1, and we've covered everything from Unit 2. You will no longer be required to know anything from Units 9 and 10. And these other units that we will be covering are pretty short, comparatively speaking. So 1 and 2 are the most important and the biggest by far units. The rest are shorter and a little less focused on the exam. So we'll be going through those starting next Monday. But anyway, on these units, you will always find a system of, or a sequence of daily videos, and they are put out by other AP Physics teachers, and sometimes just hearing a different teacher's explanation. You guys all have had lots of teachers, and you found some that the way they teach just meshes with your learning style, and other teachers, you may even like the teacher, but maybe their style just doesn't really mesh with your learning, right? Well, maybe yours meshes with mine, maybe it doesn't, but if you watch these videos, you're going to have a variety of different instructors explaining the same things we've learned, but from their point of view. One of them actually that does quite a few of these videos, I forget his last name, I think it's Jacobson, either Jacobs or Jacobson. It's Greg Jacobs, I think, or Jacobson, but he has actually written this 5 Steps to a 5 AP Exam book that you can buy, and he's written other textbooks, and he's written questions for the AP exam. He's a grader for the exam every year. He has just a wealth of knowledge, and he does a lot of these videos. He, in my opinion, he's a little bit unique. He takes a kind of a, I think his teaching is great. I learn things from him all the time, especially about how to encourage students to do well in the exam, like different strategies. But yeah, some of you, I've had some students say, I don't know, he's just too goofy. And that may be just for you, but I can get past the goofiness because the content's so good. And then there's several other teachers mixed in. So those videos are really excellent. They're all, I think, less than 10 minutes. And so you can even watch it on speed and a half, double speed. But just hearing the content again, seeing the demonstrations that they give, really excellent. And then you'll see these topic questions with a light bulb beside them. These topic questions are also excellent practice, and I have put them in the assessments. So for the first couple of units already. So if you look at the assessments tab, you should see some topics questions there. And then there's also these multiple choice and free response questions that are actually practice test questions, basically. So all of those are great for you to use in practice. So please do be going to the AP Classroom. Tomorrow after the quiz, what I'm going to be asking you to do is go to Unit 3. And I'm going to actually ask you to watch this video, 3.1. And then I'll have to look at my notes. I think it's 4, 5, 6, and 7. I think those are the other 4. There's 5 videos I want you to watch. And so you'll, like I said, bring a device, bring headphones, earphones if you're going to be in class. If you're at home, obviously, you can do it differently. But I'd like you to watch those videos to give you some introduction. You'll be interested to see, hopefully. It talks about vector fields. We just learned about gravitational field yesterday and the day before. And then if you skip down here, then it starts talking about gravity, but it's going to start. And so we just covered that. And then inertial versus gravitational mass, which we've talked about. But it's tying them all into circular motion. So while we haven't started Unit 3, we've started learning a lot of these concepts already. And that's why we can go through them faster, because we've been laying the foundation. But so that's where you'll be finding those videos to watch. And then I can't see it the same way you can, but you should have an assessments tab somewhere. And when you click on that assessments tab, for me, it shows all of my classes. But for you on the assessments tab, you should see the things that I've assigned for you. So section 2, Unit 1 FRQ, they're assigned. Now, it's not assigned because I'm grading it. It's just assigned so that it gives you access to it. And then these are some other ones that are further down the road for us. So I've assigned a whole bunch of them, but you don't need to see all that. But anyway, you can find under yours, it'll just show you what your section has had assigned. Okay. That doesn't mean you're limited to doing those things, but that gives you some help. Questions on AP Classroom site? Yes. All right. So I want to show you what we're going to be doing today. And for you guys, you've picked up paper copies of this. But for you that are in the Zoom room, you need to find where to find these documents. So today, like I said, we're not going to be sticking in this unit. We're just going to be reviewing more generally. And I'm actually flashing back to first semester. So on Axis, you'll want to go to Topics. And all the reviews that we do on Wednesdays, I'm going to keep all those materials here in this first unit AP exam resources. So it's right at the front and easy for you to remember. And if you click on that, there's tons of things I've put in here for you, and I've highlighted some of those at the beginning of the year. There's a whole bunch of FRQs from past tests with the scoring guides, so you can use those. But what we're going to do today, I'm going to just start putting them down here in the bottom right-hand corner, our Wednesday work. And so this Wednesday work right here is what you're going to be working on. You guys have a print copy of it. So you'll open up this AP Classroom Unit 1 FRQ student booklet. That's the one we're doing today. And then underneath it, you can see there is the associated scoring guide for that. Okay. So if you're on Zoom, go ahead and open that document. You can go ahead and open the scoring guide as well. Give you just a couple seconds to do that. For you guys, you should see in the top corner, one of them says scoring guide and the other one doesn't. And actually, I didn't realize it. I printed the student one first, and then I opened the scoring guide and realized the scoring guide has all the questions in it as well. So next time I'll probably only print the scoring guide, but so it's a little redundant. But what we're going to do, so hopefully all of you online have had a chance to open that now. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you 15 minutes. There are 2 FRQs on here, and I want you to try to get the first one done. The first one is what we call a short FRQ. On the exam, there's 3 short ones and 2 long ones. The short ones are worth 7 points apiece. The long ones are worth 12 points. And they suggest that you work about 10 to 15 minutes on the short ones, and then 20 to 25 minutes on the long ones. All right. Now you should shoot for less than the maximum, because if there's 3 short ones and you take the full 15 minutes, that's 45, and you get 90 minutes total. If you take the full 25 minutes on the 2 long ones, that gives you 95 minutes. That's more time than you have allotted. So you have to keep it a little bit under that 15 for the short and 25 for the long range in order to finish in time. So I want you to feel the 15 minutes today. So we're going to start here and go till 15 minutes have passed. And then I'm going to put you in breakout groups and have you start looking at the scoring guide, having some discussion about what did you see, what was confusing, just sharing some thoughts for a couple minutes, mainly just looking at the scoring guide and seeing how you did. And then the last 5 to 10 minutes of class, we'll have you come back together and see if you have questions for me. All right. Now, if you finish early and you're just waiting, you can go ahead and start looking at the second FRQ. It's one of the long ones. I mainly just provided it so you would have one to do on your own. So focus on the first one for today, and then the longer one, the second one, you have the scoring guide for. You can do that on your own time for extra practice. But for now, go ahead and focus on the first one. We'll give you till 10 o'clock. And so take 15 minutes to do the best you can on that first FRQ. So yeah, we'll resume the recording so students can hear some of this conversation. A couple quick comments before we have the conversation though. On the scoring guide, there are a couple of small typos in the first question. So I don't know if you noticed them or not, but the answer for the graphs are correct in terms of the lines and the slope of the lines. But on the first graph, they mislabeled the y-axis VY. It should be VX. And on the second graph, they mislabeled the x-axis VX. It should be T. So in the question, they were labeled correctly, but for some reason in the scoring guide, they've mislabeled the axes. But I don't even know if you would have noticed that small issue, but you should have those graphs like they demonstrated. And then in terms of the paragraph length response, they are very, very detailed. So if you look at the first point, 1 point is earned for a statement that indicates that a sphere launched from a vertical height of half will result in free fall time of less than t. You can't imply that the time will be less. You have to literally say the time will be less. Okay, so you would not earn that point if it's just implied. It has to be literal. Okay, and then the second one, 1 point is earned for a statement that indicates that if the sphere is launched at the original speed, the distance the sphere travels before hitting the ground will be less. So again, just have to be specific. You have to say at lower height and the original speed, it would travel a shorter distance. The third one, statement indicates that the launch height of half and the speed O or V2VO. Let's see, that with the launch and the VO or 2 VO, the student can no longer reach that 4-point target. And so I was a little surprised with the rubric on this one because it doesn't seem to indicate that you have to prove mathematically why that's true, but you can prove it mathematically. And I'm actually, during lunch today, I decided I'm going to videotape myself showing you how mathematically you can prove this. But it's pretty, I think, intuitive that at a lower height and the original velocity, it won't go as far. But it may not be intuitive to say at double the velocity, where is it going to go? And it actually will go farther than the target at double the velocity. And you can prove that mathematically, which I'll put a video together and post it on YouTube if you're interested in seeing that mathematical proof. The fourth point is earned for a statement that indicates that to get the most points, since the students can no longer hit the target, they should aim for the 3-point zone. So in the question, it asks you to identify how they can earn the most points. So you need to indicate that. You can't just, again, imply it. You have to say, use the 2 velocity value because that will get them in the 3-point zone. And then the last one is basically just, is your paragraph logical, relevant, fluid? Did you use capital letters at the beginning of your sentences and periods at the end of your sentences? It doesn't have to be grammatically perfect. If you miss a comma, they're not going to count off. But if you don't capitalize the beginning of the sentences, or if it's just one long stream of consciousness with no punctuation, or it's just a bunch of bullet points, not in paragraph form, you will not get that last point.
I really like that.
Yeah, they are. So that's why they say paragraph length response. So you have to be careful that you actually do write a legit paragraph. Now, you should not do what English paragraphs require. State your thesis, support your thesis, draw a conclusion. That's not what this is looking for. So it's not that kind of paragraph, but it should be a legit paragraph. So they don't need you to state the thesis, support it, and then conclude it. What I would suggest is in your paragraph, just make sure that you cover all the things that the question is asked about. And I would say in a lot of cases, it's easier to start at the end and work your way backwards. Not always, but and again, in English class and a lot of other classes, I'll usually say, what's the acronym, like claim, evidence, response, or something like that. It's different for different classes, but you may, or claim, evidence, result, something like that. You may want to actually do it backwards. Say the result, give the evidence why that's the result, and then make your claim. And the reason for going backwards is sometimes you don't know what the claim is until you start doing the work. And so if you start doing the work to figure out the result, that develops the evidence. And then as you have the evidence, then you can make your claim at the end. So again, a lot of the things you've been taught in other classes to do don't necessarily carry over perfectly for what they're looking for here. And so just want to highlight some of those things. We have a couple minutes left. Anyone in the Zoom class, we had a little bit of discussion here in the regular room. Anyone in the Zoom class have questions or comments? What stood out to you? What surprised you, didn't surprise you? Just a few comments here in the last couple minutes. Easier than you thought, harder than you thought? Was there something in the scoring guideline that you didn't expect to see?
I feel like, I don't know, the way I was answering the question was different from like the way the scoring guide kind of scored it. So I think with more practice and seeing more of those rubrics, I'll understand what the question wants me to write better.
Mm-hmm. Good observation.
Yeah, I would agree with that because like I missed like some of the points, but like I also I was like on the right track. I just didn't get to like everything.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the things students will often reflect on. You guys in the class can also share if there's something that you didn't share before, especially a lot of times students will say, I knew what was going on, I just didn't say everything they were looking for. And as both Ethan and Aiden mentioned, the more practice you get, the more different problems and rubrics you expose yourself to, the better you start thinking like predicting what they want. And that's why practice is just so critical. I'm not concerned that you won't know the material. The only concern is, will you get enough practice so that you're confident to kind of predict what's going to be on the rubric and know what they're looking for? Anything else as we close off? Anything from you guys or on Zoom? All right, so the second question is just provided for you with the scoring guide, so you have one other one to practice. And I would encourage you, take some, they say 20 to 25 minutes on that longer style question. So see if you can get it done in 25 minutes and then look at the scoring guide and see how you do. It is much more of a math-based one, not a paragraph length response type question. So it'd be great practice for you. It's not an assignment, just something I would suggest is one way to increase that amount of practice. And we'll continue to be doing these both in our normal classes and then especially on these Wednesdays. All right, good to see you guys, both in class and on Zoom, and hope you guys all have a great day, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Have a good day.
You too.
See you.
Good to see you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See you, Kate.
Bye.